CYC is a free channel, presents the Word of God for everyone. Your support will help us to continue the mission. Visit our website, cycnow.com. Even $1 will make a difference.
Today we want to talk about how to apply for college, what's going on with scholarships and essays, choosing your career, what major to pick, how to go about things, what happens if we don't have money to pay for college, what about loans and interest rates, how do I write these essays, I'm not good in English. So there's a lot of things that we need to go through over the next 2 weeks, and today we're going to talk about some of those topics. So today we're going to talk about a lot of the form filling, the applications, the money part of things, and next week we're going to have a lot of professionals who are going to sit here and they're going to answer your questions and answer some very basic questions like what do you do, what's a day in your life like, how much money does somebody in your position make, what's the job market like. So these are so many things that we need to ask about. Before we get started, I wanted to say some things to introduce. So first, I really want to emphasize this point that please, please, please don't try to do this alone, okay? The competition in the world right now, in your whatever field you're going to be in, is only increasing in general. So everyone else is asking other people questions. Everyone else is going to the schools to find out what do I need to do to get my son or daughter in here. Other people are asking on their own behalf, what about my financial aid? Where do I get these tax papers? Please don't try to figure this out on your own. There are so many people who have completed this process successfully. There's so many of us, even in the people who have done it successfully, who have failed in doing it the right way. Many of us have lost time in doing it because we did things the wrong way. So today we're going to have some people who are going to speak about certain parts of this process. I really encourage you to ask questions. Please ask questions. You might think that I've never, everybody else knows the answer. Believe me, there's no one here who knows all the answers. There is an answer for almost every question you're going to ask, but there's no one person that knows all the answers. So even we will learn from your questions. So please ask questions. The other thing is, this is more for the parents and for the kids too, of course, but I really encourage the parents to partner with their children. So this is going to be a learning process for everyone. So the parents, for many of the parents, this is the first time you're sending kids to college in a year or two. It's a very big thing. And so please don't, I always hear about from kids who are freshmen in college that they're in fights with their parents all the time because of filing this thing and that thing and all. There's so many fights that can happen. Please be partners with each other. Okay, this is number one for the parents because you're learning. Number two, because the kids don't know all the answers. And number three is which is for the kids too, that these are decisions that are going to affect the rest of your life. So especially when we get to next week, you're going to see how making some of these decisions are going to impact who you hang out with for the rest of your life, what your lifestyle is going to be. Are you going to be working morning or nights all the time? Are you going to be working 40 hours a week or 60 or 70 hours a week? What types of vacations are you going to take? What kinds of work are you going to be doing? Are you going to be having conversations? Are you going to be building something? Are you going to be sitting down or standing? These are all things that you have to think about that affect the rest of your life. So if the parents and the children are not partners together in this process, number one, the kids will not take ownership of their own lives as early as possible, which is important. And number two, you will end up avoiding some topics and never discussing them because whenever you want to open them up, there's a fight that happens, right? So please be very open and positive about this. Again, it's a learning process for everyone. So the first people who are going to come up are Mary Awadallah and Bishoy Gabriel. They're going to talk to us about college essays, personal statements, recommendation letters, and scholarships.
Hey guys, I'm Shoy, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about specifically scholarships and letters of recommendations. So let's do like letters of recommendations first. Mary will be taking the other two topics. So everybody knows that you need 2, possibly 3 letters of recommendation for your colleges, and you'll find out how many you need from the specific college. So most colleges are 2. And they recommend that you get one from a science teacher and science and math, and one from a humanities teacher. Humanities is English, history, everything that's not a science. No gym teachers, none of that. So this is kind of late for the seniors who are in here, but when you're a junior, you want to start thinking about who you're going to ask for your letters of recommendation, because it's a big deal. Like, the letters of recommendation are important. Colleges do look at them; they're not insignificant. And you want to ask a teacher that you're close to. If you don't think that there is somebody that you're close to and you're a junior, start developing a relationship. Talk to them after class. Ask them questions, smart questions. Try to get close to them. Tell them about who you are in your life, and then once they get to see who you are and your personality, they'll be better able to write you a letter of recommendation. When you approach a teacher to ask them for a letter of recommendation, give them at the very least 1 month notice. So, hey, mister, it's October 19th. I need this letter of recommendation by November 20th. That's what you want to do, at the very least. The longer the better, because they're going to be asked for a lot of letters. So please give them as much notice as you possibly can. Some teachers will ask you to look over them. You shouldn't ask them to see the letter. They're the ones who write it. You should waive your right to see your letter of recommendation, because colleges want to see that you're comfortable with whatever anyone wants to say about you without you screening it and looking at it first. So that's what I have to say about letters of recommendation. Any questions? Letters of rec. Any questions? Cool. Let's talk about scholarships. Scholarships are very important because nobody wants to pay outrageous amounts of money for college, right? So financial aid is one way to get money, scholarships are another. Scholarships can be needs-based or merit-based. Needs-based are dependent on how much income your parents make, and that's also what financial aid is going to look at. Merit-based scholarships, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens. There's a lot of money out there. People want to give you money, they just don't know who you are. You have to find them and get the money from them. So how do you find scholarships? There's plenty of websites out there. One of them is called fastweb.org. Fastweb. They have thousands of scholarships, and a lot of people apply to them. Do you have a question? The website, it's Fastweb, Fastweb, and it's either .com or .org. I'm not sure. It's probably .com. But it's Fastweb. If you just Google Fastweb, it'll come up. They have a lot of scholarships, and a lot of people get discouraged because they're like, oh, this is a really big scholarship, I'm not going to get it, I shouldn't apply. No, don't tell yourself that. If you don't qualify with the criteria, don't apply. But if you qualify and you think you got a shot at it, go. Please do it. What are you going to lose? An hour, 2 hours writing something? It's really, the amount of money and the amount of return is so much, it's so worth it. Apply to as many scholarships as you can. There's different kinds of merit scholarships. There's ones that are offered by outside organizations that are good for any college that you go to. And there are others that are very college specific. So how do you find the ones that are general? You go to this website called Fastweb. How do you find the ones that are specific? Find out which schools you're applying to, go on their website, and find out what the programs they offer are, what the scholarships they offer are. There's plenty of stuff. Sometimes a school will have a scholarship that they can't give to you as a freshman, but they'll have a scholarship that they can give once you're a sophomore and once you've done some coursework with them. Look into that. See, hey, maybe if I do this, I'll be able to get it my second year. Don't be discouraged just because there's not that much available the first year or the second year. That's true with my college. Once I got there, I realized that there was a lot of money available, and when you stand out, they're willing to give you that kind of money. So really make sure that you look at specific websites of specific colleges you're trying to go to. Yes, Tony? I go to Macaulay CCNY. Huh? Oh. I go to Macaulay CCNY. So the Macaulay Honors Program is a part of CUNY, and your sister goes there. And you go to a CUNY college for free, one of 8 now, and it's a very great program. They give you, they pay your tuition, they give you a free laptop, and they give you $7,500 to travel or to explore different things. I went to Kenya, I went to Egypt, I went to India, all on their expense. So it's been great, and I'm going to the Dominican Republic this winter to take a class on water and healthcare in Dominican Republic at their expense. So it's a really good program. I really recommend all of you to apply. If you have any specific questions about Macaulay, please ask me. What they do is that you can apply to like 6 schools with 1 application fee. So it's very cost effective and it's very good. One other thing, last thing to consider, there are so my school will give certain scholarships to if you've graduated from certain high schools. So look at what high school you're from and see what scholarships are available for certain colleges. So my school will give something like $500 for every student who comes from Towson Harris, something like that, $500 annually. And for people who come from Bronx Science, it's like $5,000 annually. So find out where your schools have affiliations. It's because somebody graduated from that high school, then went to that college, and then when they made a lot of money and became rich, they donated money back to those students. So find out. A lot of these things are available. You just need to do research on specific schools, your high school, and the specific colleges. Marina's telling me that if you went to a Catholic high school and you go to a Catholic university, there's scholarships for that are available also, either from the university or from the high school. From the university. So look into that. There are a lot of things. You really just need to spend time on the school's website, really searching it for specific things. Guys, this takes time. It's not like you're going to know right away where you're going, what you're doing, especially even with your career. Like, you really do need to sit down and do some soul searching. What do I want to do? Kind of like what Makar was asking. You really need to find out what school is a good fit for me. Don't apply to don't just, oh, this school's really close, or this school's this. Just think about it. Really sit down, do the research, look into the schools and think about it, and then make your decisions. And if you have any questions afterwards or want to talk to me about anything, feel free. Thank you.
So for those of us who benefit from hearing things more than once, just wanted to reiterate some of the things that Bishoy said. So you're going to need recommendation letters for everything in life, but right now we're talking about your college applications. So you need to submit recommendation letters with your applications. You cannot go up to a teacher who you've never spoken to before, or who when you're in class you stare at the wall and spit at it or something or do something crazy. You cannot, and then go and ask them, hey, can you write me a recommendation letter? I'm one of your favorite students. Remember me? I was the one looking at the wall, right? So what you have to do is you have to build a good relationship with your teachers and see that which teacher likes me, which teacher likes my work, which teacher always recognizes my comments, which class do I feel it's easy for me to make contributions, and the teacher notices that. So when you know these things, then you can go to one of those teachers and say, hey, in 1 month from now, I need a recommendation letter to submit with my college applications. Can you please write one for me? You're gonna have to give them an envelope with a stamp on it to mail it in. It's very, very important, like Bishoy mentioned. Bishoy really mentioned a lot of very important things. I hope you can remember all of them. That when you're filling out your application, there's a box that you have to check that says, I waive my right to see the recommendation letter. What that means is that you have the option to see what any recommender writes about you. But if you check that box and you say, I'm not going to take that option, it looks much, much better to the places where you're applying, because they're going to say, you know what, this person is so good that they don't care what anybody writes about them, because they're so confident that whatever is going to be written about them is a good representation of who they are, and that it's a positive representation. It's positive, right? So you have to check that box. Yeah, Michael.
When you're asking your teachers for letters of recommendations, you have to get one for each school you're applying to, or is it just one across the board?
So, Michael, I think, what you asked is, when you're asking for recommendation letter, do you need to ask for one for each school, or do you need to request one across the board? And I think the answer, correct me if I'm wrong, Bishoy, is that in general, you can get one across the board. So it'll be like a general letter, because you can't ask teachers to write 20 letters for you, right? But at the same time, there may be special programs that you want to apply to, or special schools where you do need a specific one for that application.
You give them like a list of all the schools you're applying to, so they just address it differently. Like, dear admissions at school X, to your admissions at school Y, and you have to give them envelopes for every school. So so you give them addressed envelopes, because like you have to pay for like your shipping. They're not going to pay for your mail. So you give them envelopes with like the address of the school, because you have to do all that research yourself, right? Then put stamps on every one. Have a list of like, these are the 12 schools I'm applying to, and she'll just write one letter, but she'll address it differently.
It also depends on your school and how they're set up. So with my school, I asked my teachers for a letter of rec, and then in a sealed, unstamped envelope, I gave it to my college guidance counselor. And then they took care, I gave the college counselor one envelope, and they put all of my information in one big envelope so that I don't have to keep sending out different mail. So you have to find out how your school is structured and how it's organized, who you need to talk to about your college application process.
But generally, like when you're asking a teacher, because it's, sometimes it's kind of embarrassing to like, or like, you get shy to ask a teacher. You'd be like, oh, hey, like, and you tell, you explain, but you'll be like, can you write me a letter, like my letter of recommendation to college? And they understand what that means, that like they're writing you one letter and we'll address it, whatever.
Yeah, please guys, don't be embarrassed to ask your teachers for this, right? Number one, because you have to. And number two is because they're used to it. This is it's a part of their job to make sure that their kids are getting, their class is getting into college, or else the school looks bad, and then the school doesn't get funded, right? So if they want to keep their jobs in short, they have to have a good, graduation rate and a good placement rate for kids in college. So it is still pretty much a favor, like, because they're writing it for you and not, they could be writing it for someone else. But so you have to handle it very carefully and with tact. The last thing before Mary comes up is that, as Bishoy mentioned, you do not have to pay out of your own pocket for 100% of your college expenses in most cases, because there's lots of scholarships available. Please don't be lazy in looking for this stuff. You'll be, again, as Bishoy mentioned, and wait till Joe comes up and tells you about a program that he knows about, where he received tens of thousands of dollars. So what you can do is, all you have to do is just look. $1,000, if you borrow it and you try to pay it back over 30 years, you're gonna end up having paid like $5,000 or $6,000 for just $1,000 that you borrow now. So all you have to do is look for the money, and it will be there if you apply.
The college essay is really important. I think a lot of people may overlook its importance. Just, you want to be authentic, pick something that really matters to you. So many people have done that. Also, it's really easy to mess it up. So you want to try to stay away from talking about a death. And if you misuse a word and use the wrong connotation, you'll sound silly.